Welcome back to the Ulduar Raid Guide. I'm Lore from TankSpot, and in this video I'll be guiding you through the Thorim encounter. Thorim is separated into three phases. The first is just a quick clear of the NPCs fighting in the arena. Have your tanks run in first and pick everything up, kill the acolyte healer, and then mop up the rest. Be sure to point the giant worm away from the group as he has a conical breath poison attack. Once all of the NPCs are dead, Phase 2 will begin and your raid will need to separate into two roughly even groups. One group will be taking the hallway to the left, while the other will remain in the arena to fight off the dark rune adds that spawn continually throughout this phase. Balancing out the two groups can be one of the trickiest aspects of the fight early on. You want to send enough people to the hallway group to let them move quickly, but you need to make sure there's enough in the arena group to keep them from being overrun as well. Four types of adds will be jumping into the arena from the stands, all of which will need to be picked up and tanked while DPS focus fires them down in order of priority. The first to enter will be a Dark Rune Warbringer. These aren't too big of a threat by themselves, but they have an aura of celerity that increases attack and casting speeds of any other adds in the arena. Note that if you have an extra priest handy, you can mind control one of them to steal their buff for your raid members. The second and most important type of add to enter will be the Dark Rune Evokers. If left alive long enough, these will cast a powerful heal. Fortunately, they don't have much health or do much damage, so DPS can just burn them down when they spawn. The third add is the Dark Rune Champion. Unlike the other adds, these do a heavy amount of melee damage, including a Mortal Strike and a Whirlwind ability. They're easily recognizable as they're the only adds using a Vrykul model, and tanks will need to pick them up quickly. Evokers are still top DPS priority, but champions should be next on the list. The final add type to spawn will be the Dark Rune Commoners. Your tanks will need to pick these up and keep them off of the healers, but they don't pose much of a threat otherwise and can be ignored by DPS unless there's nothing else alive. They'll usually die to incidental AoE damage anyway. As you're fighting off the waves of Dark Rune adds, Thorim will be attacking you as well through a couple means. He'll occasionally throw his Stormhammer at a random target, which will stun them and silence anyone in a small radius around them. For this reason, ranged classes should generally stay spread out around the room, while tanks and melee stick to the middle. However, Thorim will also occasionally charge one of the pylons around the outside edge of the room, causing it to strike anyone too close to it with lightning damage. Should a ranged class be standing near one of these when he charges it, they'll need to move away quickly. Meanwhile, your second group will be working their way through the hallway, which is a gauntlet style clear with a few trash packs and two mini-bosses. There are two types of trash mobs to deal with here. One is a Dark Rune Acolyte, which is the same healer type as in the Phase 1 arena clear and should always be killed first. The second is the Iron Ring Guard, which has a powerful whirlwind knockdown ability called Whirling Kick, and an Impale ability which will deal a large amount of damage to anyone standing in front of him with a bleed effect that must be removed by healing the target to full. As you're clearing to the first mini-boss, you'll notice he'll be constantly charging up an attack in one of his hands. When this charge is finished, he'll send a powerful shockwave down that side of the room, so the entire group will need to watch him and move to the opposite side when this happens. Since the Iron Ring Guards have a knockdown ability, it's better to move sooner rather than later. It can also be helpful to have someone designated to call out which side to move to. Once the boss is pulled, he'll stop charging his shockwave attack and should be moved off to the side. He has three main abilities to be mindful of. One is a frontal cone AoE attack called Smash that deals a large amount of damage, so everyone should stay behind him at all times. He can also put up a runic barrier which will reduce the damage he takes and deal arcane damage to anyone he attacks. Finally, he can charge a random target, which deals some damage and knocks them back. He can use Smash immediately after charging, so the rest of the group will need to move behind him quickly to be safe. Once you've killed the first mini-boss, the door behind him will open and you'll be faced with more trash packs composed of Acolytes and Iron Honor Guards, which have a Cleave, Hamstring, and off-target Stun ability. These will spawn continually until the second mini-boss is pulled, so you need to move through them quickly. If you're having trouble killing them fast enough, you can have someone run ahead to aggro the mini-boss and bring it back to the tank while the rest of the group works on the first pack. The second mini-boss has a short-range AoE ability that will hit anyone in melee range for a fair amount of damage and knock them back. He also has an ability called Rune Detonation that will root a random target in place and after 4 seconds explode, hitting anyone nearby for a large amount of fire damage. He'll cast this fairly constantly, and the rest of the group will need to move away from whoever has Rune Detonation quickly. Once he's defeated, the last door will open and the hallway group just needs to run over and hit Thorim with something to start Phase 3. There's a couple things to note first, however. If you've moved through the hallway quick enough, Sif will still be in the room. If you aggro Thorim while Sif is still there, you'll activate the encounter's hard mode, so if you're not trying for that, you'll need to wait until she leaves to move in. You should also avoid the large circles on the floor as you move through, as stepping on them will activate an immobilization bubble that will trap you for a short period of time. Once Phase 3 begins, your hallway group will jump down into the arena and help the arena group clear out any adds that may still be alive. Your hallway tank should be the first to pick up Thorim, since the arena tank will probably still have an add or two on him. Once all the adds are dead, DPS can begin to work on Thorim himself. Phase 3 is largely a DPS burn, but there are a couple things to be mindful of. He'll continue to charge the pylons around the room, but instead of shocking anyone nearby, they'll send a steady stream of lightning across the floor to Thorim, hitting anyone in their path. The group should be mindful of these and move away from them quickly. He'll also occasionally cast a chain lightning at a random raid member, so everyone should stay as spread out as possible. Finally, he'll hit the main tank with an ability called Unbalancing Strike, which does a fair amount of damage and reduces their defense skill. This can actually make your tank crittable, so the second tank should taunt Thorim when this happens. Thorim is a fairly complicated encounter that will likely require a bit of trial and error to get the balance between the hallway and the arena groups perfected, as well as test the abilities of your tanks and DPS to keep everything under control. As always, to learn more about this and any other encounters, check the Project Marmot forums at TankSpot.com for more details. If you're watching this on YouTube, just follow the link in the movie details to see the companion thread for this guide. Thanks for watching, and good luck!